Welcome everybody, Twoloosebricks here with my Lego Harry Potter Dementor's carriage that is animated. It's the first and only one of its kind built out of Lego. I could not find one anywhere. It's loosely based off the Lionel Old Gauge train car. So here's what I came up with. This train car has flickering interior Dementor's lighting, Dementor sounds, and their silhouettes on the windows. This was tricky to build. However, I wanted a different car than the standard 2010 version or the newer ones. So I went with the older style roof, the older style wheel trucks on the bottom, but using the newer style wheels, of course. And then I also put the diaphragms in the middle of where you transfer from car to car. I put them on both ends. And on the back end of this car, of the Dementor car, I decided to put an end chain as well, so your minifigures or your passengers wouldn't fall off and land on the road. Usually at the rear end of the vehicles, there is what they refer to as a FRED, a flashing rear end device. Now here's what one looks like in real life on a real carriage. It's the little white box with the red dot in the middle, which is a light in reality off to the left. Okay, getting back to the main car that I was working on. As you can see, to the left is the 2010 set car and my car to the right. So I kind of kept it within that range, and I added the 3 and the 4 numbers for cabins 3 and 4 because, well, the first car had 1 and 2, and this was of the older style carriage as well. They had that numbering system on there. And the 99723 that you see on the bottom left is the carriage number. In reality, in real life, each car has a number, and that's generally where it is put. I decided to use my Cricut machine and make some stickers and put them on there for that, for the 3 and the 4 and the 99723 right there. So I thought that was pretty cool because I used the gold for that and the black on the gray for those as well right there on the single 1x1 tiles that's on a headlight brick in behind it that's holding them up right there. Now on the newest version that comes with Hogsmeade Station, I do believe it has diaphragms on the ends of the cars, so instead of windows. So I decided to put them on, so I have like the old version and new version all in one. So the next step was to print out the Dementor's backdrop and put some plastic in front of it so that it would not get destroyed through the windows type of thing, and it would also help diffuse the LED lights in the background. So right here I am just measuring the plastic from the picture that I had cut out to fit the inside wall of the carriage, and I'm going to cut out the plastic to match that paper cutout, and we'll put that in first, then the paper cutout in behind that. So that's what I'm doing right here. So now it's time to add the plastic and the background in the car behind the windows. So I'm going to put a couple dabs of hot glue in there, and just a little bit there and a little bit there in the middle, just to keep the plastic from falling out type of thing when we jam all the electronics in there. And you don't have to glue them in, I suppose, but I glued them in, and that just keeps it from falling out and getting wrecked type of thing. So anyway, there we go. We got the plastic in that side, and we're going to further up some pieces that fell off. We're going to fix them up there, and we're going to put the paper backing on it next. But just before that, we're going to put the plastic on the other side. Kind of forgot to tell you that as well. Might as well do both plastics at once, and just let them sit for a minute, because it will slime around and it won't sit properly and set properly. So just let it set for a few minutes. Once you get that plastic in, grab your tea, have a little drink, and get ready to put the paper on the backing of the plastic. Sorry that my hand keeps getting in the way, but trying to do my best here with the camera there so you can all see. So I put a little dab here and a little dab there, another one down at the end, and I'm going to put the paper background Dementor silhouette in there as well. Now hang on to the end of the video, and I have the Dementor silhouette there that you can do a screen capture of and print it off for yourself. There's other good stuff at the end of the video as well, like the circuit diagram and everything you need to know to build this as a do-it-yourself. So watch it to the end of the video and you'll see all that good stuff. And like I said, this is a total do-it-yourself Harry Potter Dementor car. It's really cool when it's working. I thought it was slick. The Lionel version O gauge is really, really cool. So I said, well, I have to recreate this in Lego. So that was my goal, and I wanted to share it with everybody because you just don't see these type of things out there that much. So anybody that's handy with electronics, if you're not, you want to get someone obviously that is handy with building stuff with solder and stuff like that, so that you can do it properly and not burn yourself, especially if you're of the younger generation and just like to toss things together and get it done fast. This has been taking quite some time to actually build this, prototype it, and get it working the way that I wanted to get it working. It just it would work, it would not work, it would foul up and stuff like that. But once I got everything together, it totally worked in the end. So I was very, very pleased. And yeah, so took a bit of fiddling to get that paper correctly positioned in there and glued in, and it was slightly above the tile on the top there, so I did have to trim that down just so that like it wouldn't bend and buckle. After that, it sits pretty good. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now for a few seconds, just until the next segment comes up, and we can go from there. Okay, so we are back, and practically we got the car built. It's all in there. No, it's not. Right. Haha, you say, because I didn't put the electronics in. Right. Well, we just have the silhouette portion of it in there right now. So let's get into the next step, shall we? It's going to be really tight in there, but the circuit board won't be much wider than the Arduino and MP3 player itself, so it should just fit, if calculations are correct, just fit right in there and sit right on top of the battery, or a battery sit on top of it, whatever. And yeah, it should just fit perfectly. So we're going to get that on the circuit board next and continue on. So I've got a battery here, and I've got the circuit built, and the Arduino is programmed to do what I want. So here's what's going to do. It's going to take a few seconds. This will all be within the Dementor car itself. That's going to look really cool once it's inside the car. Yeah, I think it's going to look really cool. Well, now it's time to take all the electronics and put them on a piece of perf board. So I'm taking it off the breadboard and putting it down on the perf board here, which has the solder pads on it. And well, I had to cut the solder pads in the middle because they run vertically, and we don't want things shorting out between the components. So put it all in there according to my schematic and my breadboard diagram, which I have both of at the end of the video, and you can stop and pause, screen capture them, and print them off for your own use, of course. Once again, I must repeat, if you are not inclined electronically or anything that has to deal with soldering in a very small, delicate area, or with the components being delicate themselves, have someone that is, or an adult, do it for you, that is capable of doing this. This was my career years ago, so I was able to do this with no problem. However, you may have some issues and you don't want to burn something out because these things are expensive. And just be careful when you're doing it. Take your time. Do not rush. I must stress that to anyone who builds anything with electronics, because when you rush, you tend to make mistakes. Check, double check, triple check your diagram with where you're putting your wiring on your perf board to the components, because you will be working upside down when you're soldering. So here we have the electronics all put in the roof of the car. Now this one here we're going to use for the fuel rod here, but you can put a 9-volt adapter clip to the same thing, to the V in and the ground here, and the V in and ground, and it'll work the same way because it converted down to 5 volts instead of putting it directly to the 5 volts, because you would burn it out then, of course. But it will do its 5 volts internally on the board, and away you go. So you can certainly use a 9-volt clip and a 9-volt battery as well, which I think is what I will do, because this is big, it's heavy, and takes up a lot of space. And also put a switch somewhere on the back, maybe underneath here, of the car, in the bellow part of the car, so that you turn it on and off type of thing. So anyway, let's just fit this in the car, and where there's the 2 holes in the bottom, that's where I'm going to try to keep the speaker. It probably will move around a bit, but that's just the way it is. Now the battery will fit in there, and we just put that in there. It's really tight as it is. You can see there's a little bit of a buckle. It's because the wires on the edge of the circuit board come down, so I'm going to fix that. But that's it. All in all, it's completely in and done. So let's plug it in and show you what it looks like. Okay, so we're going to plug it in here, and we're going to just shove it all back in the car. There we go. And we'll just let it do its thing. It resets itself, and there it goes. I think that's pretty cool. Now we'll put that, flip him around because he's the end there. Get the magnet on that one. So as it goes around the track, it'll be able to do its lights and sound, just like the Lionel version. I think it's pretty cool. Okay, so we have the schematic diagram of the circuit right here. So just take a screenshot of that one, and as well as the breadboard diagram that I have here. And then that way you'll be able to create your own. And also coming up after this, I have the code. So here's the Arduino code that I used. Just pause and screen capture each of the following for your use. Now you can change the code accordingly to whatever you would prefer, but this one works, and this is what I used. You can change it, like I said. It doesn't have to be identical to mine. Just make sure that it's mainly the LEDs and the sound files that have the correct coding in there for them if you do change anything. But pretty much everything else should just be left the same. The Dementor window silhouette, once again, just pause, screen capture it, print it off, and away you go if you so wish to use that, or make your own Dementors and stick them in the car. But this blocks out all electronics and diffuses the light and everything, so it looks a little better. So I hope this helps out a little bit for these odds and ends that you would need to create your own. Well, I do hope you enjoyed watching and learning something today from my do-it-yourself MOC of the Lego Harry Potter Dementor's car based on the Lionel O-Gauge version of the car. And if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments below and I'll try to answer them as best I can for you in regards to anything in this video. And once again, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate it, and until next time, stay safe and keep on bricking.